Hello everyone. Today we want to share about Genesis chapter 8. Um, in to talk about the Genesis 8, we want to review the Genesis 7 also to know when the flood started. And then chapter 7 verse 11 says that in the 600th year of Noah's life, in the second month of the 17th day of the month, on that day all the fountains of the great deep burst forth, and the windows of the heavens were open. So based on chapter 7 verse 11, we can see that 600th year of the second month of the 17th day, the flood starts. Okay, and then when it ends, in chapter 8 verse 13 and 14 teach us when it ended. In the 601st year, in the first month and the first day of the month, the waters were dried from off the earth, and Noah removed the covering of the ark and looked, and behold, the face of the ground was dry. In the second month, on the 27th day of the month, the earth had dried up. So we can see that uh, the flood ends. I mean, the earth is ready to live. Okay, so when we're thinking about the timeline of the flood, the verse 11, chapter 7 verse 11, it tells us that because God told, in 7 days I will make the flood, so it implies the 7 days. And then for 40 days and 40 nights, verse 12 teach us that 40 days and 40 nights there was a flood, the rain. And then more 110 days, a total 150 days of flood. Okay, and then after that it is for 74 days. After 74 days, so in this moment the Noah's ark arrived at the mountain Ararat, and then after 74 days they could see the top of the mountain Ararat. Okay, and then for 40 days more in the ark. After that, for 50 days, the first time he sent the crow and dove to check if the earth is dried. Second, after 7 days, he sent the dove, and this dove brought the olive leaf. And then after 7 days again, he sent the dove, but it didn't return. So it means there is a space, there is a tree that dove can live, right? However, he opened the ark after 50 days total. All these things take 50 days, and then 56 days more in the ark he stayed, and then this time he came out. So this period I can say what water rising period, and this time is water subsiding period. So in total we can say that Noah stayed in the ark for 370 days. So based on the Bible, at that time, 1 year is 360 days. Okay, now though we count 1 year as 365 days, at that time 1 year is 360. So if we compute this formula, we can see that Noah stayed in the ark for 370 days. Through this story, Noah's story, the flood story, teach us about the timing to stay. So Noah should be in the ark. He should stay in there. So we can say that be patient. In our life, if God says us to stay in the ark, we should be in it, though it takes too long. In the case of Noah, it took 370 days. However, he faithfully stayed in it because God says to stay. So for him, 370 days is a timing to stay. Okay? So during timing to stay, what he did, be patient. So God said, stop and be patient. Why? During the time of the flood, why he should stop and be patient? In the timing to stay, we should be patient and wait for God's sign go. That's because God is protecting you and waits for the perfect time to be out. Trust that God thinks about you. God clearly told that God remembered Noah in chapter 8, verse 1. Like that, God remember us. God think about us. We have to trust that, and then we have to wait for God's perfect timing to go. After the timing to stay, we will see the timing to get out. Verse 15 and 17 says, then God said to Noah, go out from the ark, you and your wife, and your sons wives with you. Bring out with you every living thing that is with you of all flesh, birds and animals, and every creeping thing that creeps on the earth, that they may swarm on the earth and they be fruitful and multiply on the earth. So this time, God finally told Noah, go out. Go out. So before, for 370 days, God told him to stop. But now God told him, go. Go and obey. Finally, God gave Noah the sign to go, right? So with God's sign, Noah got out of the ark after 370 days in the ark. Okay, so through Noah's life, we can see that go and obey. Like Noah, we should awake to discern the timing to stay or to go. However, we should be patient until God finally gives us the sign of action, though we acknowledge the perfect timing. Maybe Noah knew that when the last dove did not return, he would know that it is okay to go out. However, he waited more days until God finally said, go. So once God tells us to go, we should go and obey his commandment right away. So if God says to stay inside, we have to stay inside. But once God tells us go right away, we should go and obey his commandment. So now I pray each of us to discern timing to stay and timing to get out. And then here we have to be patient and we have to be faithful to God's instruction. If God says go, we should go. But if God says stay, we have to stay. Thank you very much. God bless you.